Hi there, welcome to a short Christmas reflection for St. Stephen's Day. And I was just wanted to reflect on a couple of stories that I've been thinking about, sort of linked with Christmas over the past few days. And the first is the idea that people in this, living on these islands have for thousands of years gathered at this time of year. They've brought in greens into their homes. They've set fires. We had the beacon lit in the village in Cheney's here on Christmas Eve to try and bring the light back to the world. The idea that with the shortening of the days, the onset of winter, so they would gather at midwinter in this festival of working to bring the light back. And then I've also been thinking about St. Nicholas, the saint who has become, for many people, Father Christmas, Old Saint Nick, this person who was born and lived about AD 300 in what we'd now call Turkey, to a wealthy background, used the wealth that he had to support those who are most poor and vulnerable. One of the most famous stories about him is giving dowries to some sisters who are otherwise going to be sold into, I guess, not the most positive of futures. And he was also famous for standing up for orthodoxy within the church, quite literally fighting for the truth of the gospel, punching a guy called Arius in the face because he was making up songs about Jesus not being the Son of God or not being fully divine. And so we have this image of a man who stood up for what he believed was right, even though it cost him everything. He was tortured and persecuted by the Roman authorities for refusing to worship the emperor and refusing to recant his faith in Jesus. And we have thousands of years of people gathering in midwinter, desperate to bring back the light of life. And it was men like St. Nicholas, not himself, but men like St. Nicholas who brought Christianity to these islands, who brought that faith and that fervour for Jesus to these islands, who came into those settlements where they gathered in the middle of winter, searching for the light, and said, oh no, you don't have to search for the light. He came, he was born, he lived amongst us and died for us. Jesus is the light of the world. And the reason we celebrate Christmas at this time of year is because we have this better story to tell. We don't have to strive as human beings to bring back the light of, for spring. We don't have to bring back the life to the world to get a good harvest. The light and life of the world came into the world. Now, he who was God became nothing in order to bring us life. And that's a better story. Why do we celebrate Christian when people used to celebrate these other pagan festivals? Well, we celebrate it now because the people who used to celebrate those pagan festivals, they understood that this was a better story. They understood that they weren't able to do the things that Jesus was able to do. That when they turned to him, they found answers and they found truth. And if you're someone who struggles to believe that what the Bible says about Jesus is true, well, you're not the first and you won't be the last. But many people have stood where you stand now, sit where you sit now. And when they've really looked at the Bible, when they spent time reading it, reading John's Gospel or Luke's Gospel, they found that what Jesus says about himself is true, or what he's talked about by his followers is true. And if you're someone who believes that Jesus is true, and what the Bible says about him is true, I'd encourage you that it's you're not the only one who believes it's true. And you stand in this long line of people who have worshipped in these lands and in around the world, who have come and introduced people to the story of Jesus, the story of his coming at Christmas, the story of him living and demonstrating the love of God through the way he worked miracles, through the teaching he gave, taught about his kindness, and taught about the gift of new life and his victory on Calvary. And the people have understood that that's a better story. It better explains the world we live in and the things we struggle with. And I encourage you to go and share that good news with people. Tell them this better story so that they too can, find the light and life that we're all searching for in Jesus rather than in trees or LEDs or anything else. I hope you've had a really good Christmas, not too disrupted by the trials of this current age. I just want to encourage you that I'm praying for you, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.